Hi guys, welcome to week 3 of our live stream on motorcycles. We're just sitting down with a cup of tea and we're having a brew. So yeah, first things first.
Aux 2.
We've got a little bit of news about DocBike. So we posted up. We did an article on the website after the DocBike charity. They had a survey that is looking at the developing a road sign that's going to go on for motorcyclists, but also car drivers, everybody. So they've come up with a survey to get everybody to fill it in to find out which is going to be the best sign. So we reposted it and it's gone absolutely mental. DocBike themselves at the time when I spoke to them earlier that had over 1,600 responses done, which is absolutely great because it's going to help everybody on the road, motorcyclists, car drivers, whoever. And it's not started at a war between everybody to say, oh, everyone needs to look out for bikes a bit more and nobody is looking out for bikers, but it's just it's good for everybody to get their views across and everybody can think what they're doing. So thank you for the response on that. It's been great. It's really good for everybody.
I think it's a good idea when a charity like DocBike is coming out and asking for, shall we say, user feedback. Like, they are the people who want to try and help lives on the road. And it doesn't matter who they are because I'm pretty sure they'll respond to any situation. So it's just a case of asking and having the feedback from the people themselves is actually a really good idea for helping them develop what they want to do.
The actual questionnaire itself is dead simple. It's a couple of questions, mainly just looking at which sign do you prefer and that sort of thing. If you haven't done it, the link to the actual survey is still on the website. It's still on our website, and you can get a direct link straight to it there, and it's also on the DocBike website. While you're there, it's worth having a look at the DocBike to find out what they're all about, because they're always needing new people to volunteer and to help fundraise and to spread the word, basically. And it's something that hopefully we're never going to use, but we'll be glad that it's there if we do need it, basically.
Yeah, it's that ideology of better to have it, not need it, and have that support there, and in case anything does happen, then not have that support there and struggle with being out on the road.
I think other bits of news this week, it's been a pretty boring week, really. It was really boring, and then nothing was going on, and then yesterday 2 massive bits of news happened all at the same time. We got the live stream event from Triumph where the new Speed Triple 1200, or shall I say 1200.
Well, is it not really a 1200?
No, it's not really a 1200.
It's a fake 1200.
It's a fake 1200. There's been a bit of number rounding on that one. But again, it's a new bike with a new engine, and I mean it's all good in the hood with that. Triumph have been doing a lot. There's so much that they've done to it. They've ditched the dual underseat pipes and gone for a single. Now you say good. I liked those. They were iconic for that bike.
But is it not something about, like, they can help with performance and things like that by taking that out, and just it brings on style with the Street Triple that came out and staying on brand with that?
Yeah, it's funny how you should mention the Street Triple, because it does look like it's a Street Triple on steroids a bit now.
Well,
really.
That's how it should look.
So, the numbers, they've upgraded the capacity from 1050, I think it was, up to 1160. Still on the triple format that's iconic to Triumph sportier Triumph Roadster bikes. 180 horsepower, that's up by 30 horsepower. Now, they've done that, and when I rode the 765 when it first came out, a Triumph person actually said to me, this will kill off the speed triple, because the horsepower was too close, but the street was so much cheaper and it felt a bit nicer to ride. So they've had to kind of up that, so you've not got two bikes that are overlapping, if you know what I mean. So Peak Torque's also gone up. It's got an extra 650 RPMs. So I dare say that the Moto 2 boys over revving the engine a bit's probably made the engineers think, oh, we can get away with a little bit more. And they also say there's 12% lower inertia in the engine, so basically that means that the engine should rev quicker, so it'll pick the revs up quicker.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit more responsive to...
Yeah, it gives a bit more response.
And that leads to control and leads to help on cornering and everything like that, that they're always going to boast about. But it's never really been a problem on the street and the speed triple. You know, it's not a huge...
They say there's an all-new free-breathing intake and exhaust with an incredible sound. Now, the old one sounded great.
Yeah,
that triple bark was amazing. But the only thing that I didn't like was that it had like an intake kind of whistly, and I don't know whether it was the intake or whether it was actually just the... there was something on the cam chain or something like that was out, but... somewhere along the lines there was just a little annoying little noise.
Just hand me the mouse, let's have a look.
Yeah, we should have some pictures actually. Let's get some pictures up.
We'll come back to these.
Yeah.
We'll come back to these, ignore these.
We've gone in the wrong order. There we go. So here's the new triple. So it's got rid of the dual underseat pipes and it's gone to a singular low slung kind of like a more sportsy styled one.
Yeah, really, it does look like it could be something a little bit derivative of a sports bike. I'm not going to complain because it's not the worst exhaust we've ever seen.
No, it's not. And the thing is, everyone moans about exhaust all the time, but the first thing anybody does when they get a new bike is replace the exhaust.
And 9 times out of 10, there's probably going to be, with Triumph especially, an upgrade package where it allows you to, I'm going to assume, apply an arrow to it.
There'll be an arrow, and other people will be coming out with systems. What else have we got? We've got a this quoting a wet weight, which is quite rare these days. So they're saying it's 10 kilos lighter. Obviously, you save quite a few kilos in
trimming off that other exhaust
trimming
pipe.
Off an exhaust pipe. So it weighs at 198 kilos wet. Now it's rare to get a wet weight.
Definitely.
And it's kind of another one. One person says wet, one person says dry, another person kind of says ready to rock. So it's kind of a bit of a weird one. But again, 198 kilos is nothing to be sniffed at, is it? That's going to be...
And in modern bikes, that's definitely something that you cherish that little bit lighter. It helps with that power to weight ratio, and it helps definitely with picking it up after you drop it.
They've got performance tuned fully adjustable Öhlins suspensions. Now I didn't see in the video or in any of the other images actually whether it's electronic suspension. I haven't noticed that. I don't think it is. And looking at some of the images, it just looks like normal plain kind of adjust it yourself with a spanner kind of Öhlins, which is kind of good because every time you go in electric suspension, it kind of always adds a massive price.
Well, that's the price of having such fancy technology.
Yeah, but it always... do you need it?
You said that the electric suspension on the MT10 was great. So, if you've got that accessibility to put it in something like this, maybe it is good. For those people who go on track, who want to utilise the bike's full performance, is that really... they could really use that. But for the average road person, where you might need to... adjust it yourself or go out and have it done professionally by people. It's the electronics is a bit overdone.
I think it's good that they haven't put electronic suspension on because you're saving a huge amount of cost. That's making the bike more affordable. They'll sell more because it's not a 23 grand V4S Street Fighter that's got electronic suspension on. So yeah, good
what's
call on that.
What's the price tag? Because realistically, if it's around that 11 grand mark, that extra couple £100 for getting
It's
electronic.
more than that. I know that they did say in the presentation yesterday a price. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but as soon as they did say it, I was like, wow, that's a lot cheaper than what I thought it was going to be.
But they're not skimping out on quality. You're still getting LED lights as normal, as you'd expect from nowadays. But you're getting Brembos as well, and
Oh, there you go, £15,100.
So at that point, if they bumped it up to 15,500 and you get your electronic suspension.
Oh no, but electronic will add like 3,000 on.
Right, okay, so it's not going to be
more like it's a huge.
It's a big one. So you might as well go away and get that.
Well, the difference between a Panigale V4 standard, I think that's about 16, and the V4S with the electronic suspension is like 25.
Wow.
So it is a big.
And if it's not something that you're going to use extensively for advanced riding or track or anything like that, is it worth it?
Well, I mean, loads of people I know have always said you're going to be even better with a manual system that's set up correctly than an electronic system. But some people disagree. So again, that's a talking point that we'll probably never ever get round to. But some people say electronic suspension is best. Other people say, well, if it is best, why aren't MotoGP using it?
See, part of me enjoys the science behind testing and changing, tinkering, seeing how it feels and going from there. But sometimes you've got to have that customizability in the first place. On the SV, there's nothing there to tinker with.
No.
So you lose that sense and you just ride the bike for what it is. But on something like this with the nice Olins, you could probably get something set up a little bit better.
And the thing is, they've not just put like the pretty Olins on and there you go, that's it. I mean, it's got Brembo style Emmers, which, you know, you're getting on the V4s and things like that. So they're the premium Brembo. Not the latest style Emmers, because I think there's a style Emmer 2, I think now, but there's style Emmers on there, which is, again, more than plenty enough for what that bike's going to do. It's got Metzeler Race Tech double R tyres, so they're going to have more than enough grip to give you what you need in the corners. TFT dash, big screen, it's got Triumph shift assist for up and down, it's got GoPro connectivity, they've said a full keyless system so that you don't need the key, and a keyless fuel cap.
So let's go back. So we get the nice, 5-inch TFT?
Yeah.
I love that. I love bikes with a TFT dash. I wish I could retrofit or aftermarket fit a TFT to the SV, because I just love how they are. They're just so responsive, so good, customizable, you could put whatever, and I think that they're great. So I like that, but you'd expect that from a modern bike. You'd be expecting a TFT dash from this style of bike. Again, you've got your rider modes. That, again, if you've got a TFT dash and you're paying 15 grand, you'd expect a few rider modes, maybe a wet or sport. The shift assist, I don't get that. Maybe because I've never used one, but why can't you shift normally like a normal biker? What's special about your foot that you can't shift with it?
Well, it's just because.
Saying it's just because you're adding money for the quick shifter, and everyone knows how to shift a bike. You're not going to get on a bike and not know how to shift. So, yeah,
but I guarantee though, once you use one for the first time and it makes that nice little poppy bangy noise, you'll be like, yeah, these are ace, I want one.
I already have a nice gurgly SV. I don't need a poppy bangy gurgly SV.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things that once you've used it once, you'll be like, I'm going to use this all the time now. What else? Is there anything you don't like about it?
Anything that I don't like?
Yeah.
From the pictures, maybe bar end mirrors. That's about it. I've never been a fan of bar end mirrors, but that's just a personal preference thing. So.
Yeah, but there's no alternative to it, really.
No, there isn't.
Because you've got no nose cone to mount proper mirrors on.
But as I said, that's it.
I'd at least swap them around and turn them upside down so they're hanging down
underneath.
Yeah,
I could fully get behind that. And if Triumph said to me, here it is. There you go, have it. I'm not going to turn it away. I'm not going to have an issue with it. It's just personal preference, and I can see why they do it. It's just the Triumph style now. A lot of people, even if they have integrated regular mirrors for like handlebar mirrors, they're just going to take them off and put bar ends on because that's the style. That's what they want.
Yeah, especially on like a roadster style bike. I think for me personally, I love it. I think it's mega. I can't wait to see and hear what it sounds like with a full system on. That's going to be great. But part of me is just sitting here wishing, okay, let's give it a fairing, because Triumph don't do a bike with a fairing on.
No.
And let's make like a Sprint GT again, and let's go after that kind of more sportier, kind of distancy kind of.
But is that the market that Triumph... They've already got a grasp on this style of bike.
Yeah.
They've already got clients who want to come in and upgrade and go from this style of bike to going... Or, you know, they want this style. And again, they've got the adventure market, they've got a good hold on that with the Tiger series, because a lot of people love the Tigers. So, do they really want to just, like, venture out and start putting money into something that people might not buy?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you do an experiment and say, do you think? I mean, if somebody came out and made a new Hayabusa, do you think that'd sell?
See, this is the issue. The Hayabusa, part of it is good because of the meme. So.
But yeah, I know it's wow.
Part of it, the Hayabusa's legacy, is the meme, and you know, you just because it's a Busa and people tried to turbo and stretch them and everything like that, and they're just kind of they're ruined. So I'm not gonna have thoughts on the Busa. I don't want a Busa returning unless it's
really
unless it's phenomenally looking. I don't want a Busa returning.
I'm pretty gutted about that, because I mean I heard rumours that the Hayabusa was going to get relaunched, and it's coming multiple. First it was like supercharged, then it was kind of going to be turbocharged, and
super duper mega charged.
Yeah, super duper mega charged, and then they were going to say, right, well,
it's the rival to the H2. Get this.
Well, we're just going to do like a mega kind of big CC thing, and like I really liked the original thought of how it came about and why it was called the Hayabusa, and the old
So you like the story, not the bike? Because I like the story. I just don't think that unless they bring it back like the Katana and they give it like sharp angles and make it look sexy, that it's going to do any good. Because
but that to me, the Katana was a disappointment. It looked a bit like the old one, but it was still a GSXS underneath, and they made the fuel tank of the GSXS even smaller. So, and I mean, I'm used to riding a bike that gets fuck all to the gallon and to a tank, but that was even worse. People were moaning that it was only like 100 miles to a tank out of a Katana, which you'd expect to do more.
I mean, I liked the styling, I liked the teasing, having those little press bits come out ever so slightly drips and drabs. It was good, but I've not ridden one, so I can't complain about that. But just the styling, they bought that legacy bike and gave it that fresh, clean, angled look that people did enjoy. So, you know, maybe having something a bit more edgy, bit more streamlined.
I think stick a fairing on. Let's go distance touring. Give someone who wants to do 600 miles in a day a bit of protection, and the old sprints.
I'll get ZX.
That'll do it. So what photo have you got next, other than that pretty one?
That's showing off the fancy exhaust, and that one is back. So we're back to DocBike. So as cutting down the exhaust saves 10 kilos. So they've not really reduced weight anywhere else, have they?
Well, they will do. But there's not going to be 10 kilos just in an exhaust.
Do you want to test that?
Why?
We'll find an exhaust.
Well, no. Let's be realistic.
We'll weigh the R1 exhaust.
Well, I know that just the cat on the R1 6.7 kilos, but they've obviously had to keep the cat in.
Yeah, so they've taken a little bit out, but it's not... I mean, I'm going to say it's massive because it's nice to have it at 200 kilos.
Well,
but
Yeah.
It's not suddenly revolutionary.
So, right, next photo. What haven't we talked about? Done DocBike.
Done DocBike. Right,
so
here we go.
this was in the news last week, and it was Harley Davidson. They had their kind of, this is what we're doing this year kind of thing. This is what we're doing. This is what we're up to. And they announced this new wheel. So it's kind of, I know it's a pretty poor image, but it's kind of a cross between a spoked and a cast wheel. And I've been thinking about this all week as to why you'd want to put a cast wheel or a forged wheel with spokes in.
Is this the most thinking you've done all week?
Yes.
Right.
And the only thing I can think of is that, because normally if you run a spoked wheel, you have to run a tube. Like in your push bike, you have spokes, you have to run a tube. So that the tube inflates, that fills the well, and then that also pushes your tyre out. So you have a tube like that because if you didn't, the air would leak out through the spoked holes.
You get,
yeah.
So you get a flat tyre, and nobody wants that.
Yeah. So what they do in mountain biking is they get rid of the tube, they tape up the inside so that it's completely sealed, and then that allows you then to put air in.
Without risking it.
Without it leaking out anywhere. So the only reason why I can think that they've done this is that they've put the spokes on the exterior in the kind of little webby bits where it meets up on the, like, where it kind of forms like a half a diamond shape. So that's where the spoke goes to. So that means that the inside of the well, there'll be no spoke holes. So you can effectively go tubeless like a conventional motorcycle tyre. So if you're having, if like the new Pan Am, if that's having these wheels that would be on a tubed tyre, like a lot of adventure bikes are, like GS's and that sort of bike, they're all on tube tyres still. It'll allow you to run a conventional tyre that doesn't need tubes.
So the spokes, they look like they're joining the actual rim right just on the edge.
Yeah.
So is that going to be an issue with potentially something like potholes or something like that? Is that going to be a breaking point? Or do you think that they've stress tested it in those kind of scenarios? Because I think it looks...
Philly's saying the V-Strom 1050's got a tubeless. Are they spoked on the inside, Phil, or do they come to the outside again? Because I must admit, it's that was what I thought of why they've done this, so they can get away with running a tubeless tyre but still have spokes.
So again, it's they must have done it for a reason. They're not going to do it anyway. And we had a bit of a discussion about it last time.
They're on the inside.
They're in the inside. Wow.
Okay.
So they're going to have a reason for it.
Yeah, there'll be a reason for it. I don't know what that reason will be yet until we see one in the flesh. But
if you know somebody from Harley Davidson who can tell us why, let us know, because I really want to know why. We've been given, it looks cool, but does it work? Is the big thing.
So next photo in the
let's have a look.
archive. What have we
next?
got? Right,
there we go.
So this is another big bit of news that broke yesterday, with like a couple of hours after the actual Triumph launch, and this is the new KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. And I must say that the press shots of this bike, KTM's really done it dead good, if that even makes sense.
The press photos are nice. The photos are nice. I think, from in my opinion, they're a little bit underexposed. Not underexposed, but contrast.
No, not knocking like that at all. Because at the end of the day, it's a professional photographer that's doing them.
Yeah, but they look really.
But in terms of what they've done, is they've gone to this is an abandoned track in Spain somewhere. I can't remember the actual place, but it's an abandoned top speed testing oval, and they've just gone howling around there with a KTM Super Adventure. They've also got it wheeling, they've got it doing absolutely everything in the photos, and it just looks an absolute hoot. So KTM is saying that it's a completely performance focused bike. It still keeps over its big engines, and I don't think we've heard anything on the actual Super Duke R yet.
No, don't think so. But they've changed some of the design, and I'm not sure how big of a deal it is. Moving the steering head back by 15 millimeters. Is that really going to make a massive difference? It's 1.5 mil, 1.5 centimeters. Is that going to, like? Again, I'm no expert on it. They must have had a reason to do it. They've made the swing arm a little bit longer, which they're trying to make it a little bit more stable. It's just that idea, like, again, kind of stretching a booster. You know, they're making the swing arm a little bit longer.
But it's completely different, isn't it? Comparing that to a stretch booster.
Is that stretch swing arm going to be better for the off-road?
Yeah.
Well, that's, again,
they wouldn't do it if it made the bike worse.
No. And again, we've got a 23-litre keyless cap fuel tank. I don't know how these keyless caps work. I'm dead interested to find out. You know, I don't know.
There's no key.
Do you just fob over it? How do you open it?
Well, it could either be a little button that you press, like in your car, because that's keyless.
Bink.
You pull the thing and it undoes your flapper.
Because my worry, you know, you're getting keyless in everything. There are issues with people cloning keys. There are issues with dropping missing keys. Because if you drop your key, you lose your key. You kind of like sodded. Whereas if you've got a lock, you kind of got a spare, or you can at least get another one cut.
Yeah, but if you're riding in the winter, keys freeze up. You don't get that with a keyless, do you?
Yeah, but I don't ride in winter, neither do you.
Well, I do, but
So
not when it snows.
I was the last one out, actually.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
When were you?
December 4th.
I was out like the week before Christmas.
Were you?
Yeah. Because my bike was dead dirty and I didn't clean it until
Well,
Christmas.
you never clean it, so...
Well, yeah, no change there.
Yeah, so, again, going back to the KTM...
Yeah, because you went off topic.
With the KTM, you know, again, they're bringing in a nice new big TFT, standard now for most KTMs. Everything's...
No, that's a Triumph.
See, you don't know what you're doing.
There you go. Big wheelies.
So, big dashes, big switches, lots of rider modes, bright orange. It's KTM. What more do you need to know? You know, it's a super adventure. It's
well, I mean, a bit more about it. The engine's been upgraded to Euro 5 compliancy. It's still retaining the V-twin kind of layout. It's still making 160 horsepower with 138 newton meters. And they're saying that the engine, they've saved 1.6 kilos just on the engine. So they've made the engine cases thinner and they've changed the oil pathways to make the oil flow a bit better. Exhaust is a two-headed exhaust.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's...
Is that 2-to-1, I assume, then?
Not sure. I don't know what they mean by a two-headed exhaust, whether that means one comes out of each bank, like a normal engine, or they're doing something snazzy on that with
two pipes per head.
One pipe per valve or something soft like that. I'm not 100% sure until I see one in the flesh, but either way it'll be interesting to see what they're doing with that.
Yeah, it's great to see the adventure bikes at the moment, because I know Suzuki especially are coming out and talking about all the sensors and tech that's in their line, and KTM are doing the same. They've got a 60 lean angle sensor, so you can look through on your TFT dash about your lean angle if you really, you know, if you're leaning hard on your KTM adventure. It's going to have all your rider modes, all your off-road traction control, all of that through that nice 7-inch TFT.
Yeah. 7 inches is a big screen.
It's big. You know, it's a huge phone screen. It's a tablet essentially.
Yeah.
Stuck onto your bike without the use of a terrible.
I'm still sitting here kind of gobsmacked really a bit about the fact that it's 160 horsepower.
Yeah, and again, it's got that pull of being that really nice V-twin, accessing it at the lower revs and pulling it right up.
It'll be interesting to see how it does, and I know that obviously you see loads of these KTM super adventures around. Yeah, it'll be dead interesting. I think it'll sell well. Obviously, KTM are kind of sorting everything out a bit at the moment, but I'm just sitting here waiting. KTM make a sports bike, and I know the head of KTM come out years ago and says we're not doing sports bikes anymore, but that was before they were in MotoGP. You know, you've had your first MotoGP win. You know, you could be a dark horse for the title next year. Come on, let's make a sports bike. Let's have another RC8 or, you know, a road going RC16, please.
RC1200.
Please, let's have a sports bike, KTM. Thank you.
You know,
that's rant for today done.
The Duke's been there long enough, so it's not like you're trying to uproot that market, because there's always going to be a market for those kind of nakeds, those hyper nakeds. So again, like you say with the Triumph, slap a fairing on, go from there.
Yeah, let's have a sports bike. Let's just let's do something about it. So bit of a trivia one for you then, for anybody who's watching as well.
Don't ask me.
So I'm writing an article at the moment, and tell me, what was the first motorcycle that had a quick shifter fitted from the factory?
Well, I know this answer.
Do you?
Will I?
Oh, you won't, no.
Oh. Am I too young?
I don't think it's probably a bike you've ever heard of.
Oh, well, there we go. That's not a problem then.
So
I can't help.
Do your research, have a look online, do whatever you want. If you know it off the top of your head, tell me, send us a message, comment in there if you know it already without Googling it, because you're like an encyclopedia of knowledge. Just tell us, what was your first bike that had a quick shifter on from the factory in standard format?
Do you know?
I think I know.
It's a Yamaha.
No.
Oh.
And it's not Suzuki. And it's not Honda. And it's not Kawasaki. So
Was it a Norton?
Well, and I'd be interested to know actually what was the first race bike to have it. If anyone can find out what the first race bike was, then yeah, let's have that one as well. Because I can't find anything about. I know MotoGP uses seamless gearboxes nowadays, but obviously they must have used quick shifters before they went to a seamless gearbox. So that's this week's trivia question. If anybody can get that, then you're doing better than me, because it's that's a hard one, and there's not an awful lot on the internet about it.
I mean, I'll go back to this. Do you really need a quick shifter?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, when it's one of those things that once you've experienced it, you'll be like, why on earth has it taken me so long to ever use a quick shifter?
Again, I just know how to change.
Remember the first time you used a microwave, and you're like, oh my god, I can heat beans up in 2 minutes, or I can make my breakfast in 2 minutes.
No.
Why have we been sitting over a pan for ages?
Because that's not. I've always known about it.
It's
maybe doing jacket potatoes in the microwave.
Yeah, there you go. 5 minutes instead of half an hour in the oven.
Yeah, maybe, or scrambled egg in the microwave.
But it is one of those things that I personally think's great. I mean, I don't always use it from. I don't like using it from first to second, because obviously you're going through neutral, and if you miss, it can make a nice clunky horrible noise. But otherwise, I use it, you know, whenever I'm using the throttle to go.
Yeah, I mean, I can just shift normally. I'm a normal person. My feet are fine. I don't. Just quick shifting is a bit over the top for me.
I like it. It's great. And if it's on the right bike that's got the right engine and the right exhaust system, then yeah, it sounds mega. So
I've never had one to try one. I don't know if I would like it.
But you've heard mine.
Yeah, but yours is just a loud noise anyway.
Okay.
You forget that we have been out together, and there have been times where you have accelerated and I've not been able to hear my own engine over the sound of your bike. Your bike is so loud, I can't hear my own. Yeah, and I'm on my own.
That's because you ride with a baffle in.
I used to ride with a baffle in. Now I don't know. It might be a different story, but
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Quick shifters, auto blippers. It's another MotoGP technology that's come from racing.
Yeah,
That we're now all getting on the road. So
definitely. So let's go to questions. We had the greatest question on Twitter earlier.
which one?
The one about dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, what's your favourite dinosaur? Well, there you go. What's your favourite kind of dinosaur? George, if you're watching, great question.
Yeah.
Ask us another one next week.
Keep them coming, George. I quite like Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Well, the joke on Twitter was actually that the Bernard Matthews turkey dinosaurs
Yep.
were the favourites.
Yep.
But if we've got to go
Actual dinosaurs.
There's because you said Stegosaurus, which is the
One with spines on his back.
with the spines on his back, and then there's T-Rex with his short arms, and then there's the ones in Jurassic Park that go hunting in the kitchen. The hungry ones.
They are velociraptors.
Velociraptors are pretty cool. And of course you see raptors everywhere. Ford make a raptor pick up.
Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. So it could be, I don't know, dinosaurs are cool. But which is my favourite? What are the flying ones? Are they a dinosaur?
Pterodactyls.
Yeah. Is that a dinosaur or is that more of a bird?
No, it's a dinosaur.
I'll go with one of them then. Because it's got a silent P at the start.
That's why you can't hear it go to the toilet at night.
Everyone likes a silent P.
Right, next question. Let's get off this.
Right, so we put it out on Instagram. Ask us a question. We'll answer it and come up with a bit of a laugh thing. So my mate Win, big win. He wins wins. Win rides a little bobber and he says, "Is a CG 125 the best motorcycle ever built?"
The CG.
CG.
Now I'm gonna have to just double check my thinking about the CG. Right.
I think the CG was kind of like one of those that it's was what your Pure Sport was based off.
Yeah, the Pure Sport was kind of based off one, so I can fully agree that as a beginner bike, it's great.
But
right.
It's not the best motorcycle ever. Sorry, Win. And you've ruined yours by making it a bobber.
I mean, that one's a cafe racer or a scrambler. You know, that one's definitely cafe racer. See, now the issue is, the Pure Sport was an absolute beast, but not in performance. In handling, in consistency, in being simple, only breaking down 4, 5, 6 times.
7, 8, 9, 10 times.
One major breakdown, one not so major, you know.
But for a beginner bike, it taught you what you needed to know. It taught you to ride. It made you learn the roads, and
I abused it.
Yeah,
and I still made money on it.
Well, exactly. There you go.
I put, you know, loads of miles on that, and I still made money out of it because they hold their value. I wish sometimes that I never sold it and that I'd put another engine in it in some way, because I could carry the speed through that bike in any way, shape or form, straight through any corner. You know, the corners that I hate now on that little 125 were perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going up the road to work. I could just whack it straight on, keep it at 60 all the way there, not have a problem. Now with the SV, I'm just there like, oh, a little bit heavy into that corner, a little bit too fast. Oh, suddenly doing 70. Oh, no, and then you know, it goes from there. So that bike was perfect, but it's not the best bike.
And that leads us to the next question then, which comes from Killswitch Chris. Try saying that when you've had a few. And he says, Superbike or Super Naked?
If I had to pick, Superbike.
Superbike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Superbike. Because when you're going something with that performance, that speed, that power, it is definitely, you want a screen.
Now,
as small a screen it is, I'd rather have the screen than not have it.
Now, coming from a Superbike owner, this is going to sound weird, but do you really need all that power on the road? That's what they normally sound like, people who says, you know...
No, but that's not the question. The question is Superbike or Super Naked. If it was, do you need that power on the road, then I could understand. But it's not. It's Superbike versus Super Naked. We haven't got any other ideas. We don't know if to talk about track, talk about road, whatever. Right? Because on track, rather have the Superbike. On the road, probably rather have the Superbike if I can afford the amount of petrol it would need.
Yeah, and for me it goes to the same... I mean, I look at a superbike and I go, wow, that's amazing. I really want to go with that. And I look at like a naked bike and I go, I really want to go with that. It doesn't give me that wow factor because you see all the bits that you don't want to see. It's all exposed because there's no fairings.
Just quickly, sorry, speaking about superbikes, people have been bolting wings onto their S1000RRs.
It's been happening for years. I mean, Puig, whatever it's called, put or it go, however you spell it, whatever. They've made these bolt-on wings, and when they first come out, like the first thing was, oh, cool, and then about 5 minutes later, it's like, no, that's too max power. It's a bit rubbish, really. But yeah, everybody's been putting these wings on, and it's like
they've had a resurgence now that a lot of the big boy bikes are coming out with them.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between Ducati putting these wind tunnel tested on wings that are making 60 kilos of downforce at 60 mile an hour, and some bloke that's put these wings on with wood screws where he thinks, and
wood screws.
Yeah, and with a spirit level, it's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those. I'm going to call it an Instagram fad because it is. It's a poser, and anybody who actually does that, if I see that in real life, I really want to go up and just like wiggle it and see how much play is actually in there, because they're only just bolted on with the fairing bolts. They're not actually screwed on, so just like wiggle, see how much play they have. But again, superbike over super naked. I'm not going to have fun on a super naked on a track. I'm going to be too busy trying to keep my chest upright.
No, I mean, I've rode both on, well, I say track. I mean, I rode an MT10 around an airfield for a bit.
Before, after breaking...
and it was still good, but when you get up to about 160 mile an hour, you kind of think yourself, I really like a screen here, because it just takes a bit off your chest and your neck. And I'll tell you one thing, after doing that, and doing that day, riding the MT10 at 160 mile an hour with no screen, and then poking my head up on the Fireblade at 180 mile an hour, my neck was hurting the next day, because, I'm not used to doing, that kind of thing. So it was quite interesting.
Interestingly, we were watching a video the other week about like just beginners track stuff, just having a mooch around on the YouTubes, and somebody was wearing a hands device on a bike on track. Now, I've only ever seen that in F1, but I think after what you've just said, that could actually be something that starts coming in.
Well, I've seen a lot of motocross riders wear neck braces that come up here. I've seen people on track wearing neck braces, because obviously if you do come off, it can stop your head wobbling around and damaging your neck, because it kind of firms up here. I know that a lot of some airbag systems inflate up here to try and limit where you can go with your neck. So all in all, if it's going to try and prevent neck and spine injuries, then it's a good thing. You shouldn't really care how it looks. It's good if it's going to help people stay safe and look after themselves.
Yeah, I just think it's definitely the first time I've seen it on a bike, not in an F1 car or in a rally car or something like that.
Well, he's a trendsetter.
Well,
every Instagram influencer is going to be wearing neck braces now for their
new helmets.
Wobbles to the co-op every Sunday.
Can you imagine people who make things out of carbon fibre and such making out these pseudo hands devices that haven't been tested, that just for the look,
So our resident man in Canada land, Dorian, says, what's the scariest bike you've ever ridden?
The Pure Sport. So I've got two stories with the Pure Sport as to why it was the scariest bike. And it's not because of the pure power that eluded from the Pure Sport.
All 11 horsepower or whatever it was.
So the first time was one of the first times I was out riding it, and I went onto a roundabout and the engine cut out literally as I'm on the roundabout. So I have to kind of do a bit of a rolling start to get it going, and it just kept cutting out repeatedly. And that was me being stupid because...
Jam toast brew.
Oh, that was me being stupid because I had the fuel selector off.
Oh, right.
Not on main tank.
Engines always work with fuel in.
Yeah. And as I said, first ride out, but it just cut out on the middle of a roundabout, and I'm there like, Okay. What? We worked out. It was either out of fuel or on the wrong selector, one of the two. And then the second one, slightly cold day. What, mid-October? And rear tyre pressure was a little bit off. And I remember coming out of a corner and just a little bit too much on the accelerator, a little bit too fast, and that just spun the back wheel a little bit, and I had a little bit of a wobble, and we got it on camera. I actually got both instances on camera. And you were behind me at the time.
Yeah.
And you came up and said, "Are you alright?" And I just went, "Yeah," and I was laughing hysterically kind of thing.
That's the thing, because I don't think I've ever rode a bike that scared me.
Has it always been something that's happened that scared you? Not the bike itself?
To be honest, I don't really think that I've been scared an awful lot on the bike.
What about when you blew up the CBR at Bruntonthorpe?
I wasn't scared.
Oh. I wondered what that little bit of liquid coming off the back of it was.
No, it didn't scare me. And like, for those who don't know, we've probably told this story millions and millions of times.
Because it's a good story.
But I had a tyre blow up at. It was an indicated 180 mile an hour on the screen, so give or take for a speedo error, it was probably less than 180 mile an hour, but still, it was definitely well over three figures. So we were at Bruntingthorpe testing the brand new Honda Fireblade SP.
In 2017?
2017 model.
It was around that time that the race version had all those electronics, and they was it Bennett's?
Yeah, Bennett's invited us out.
Bennett's invited us out, and they asked, we want you guys to ride the bike to actually get an idea of what it's like, to tell people that it's actually not what you see on the race team isn't actually reflective of the actual bike.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good idea, because there was a lot going on around why the Honda race team were having problems at Northwest and places like that. And so they invited us down to give it a whirl on track.
So basically we had Bruntingthorpe's I think it's just under 2 mile long runway, pure tarmac in a straight line. Everyone's going to try and max this thing out, and I was determined to I really wanted to get the 186 on the clock and see what else it could do. And so I was following an MT10.
Ridden by a maniac.
A maniac,
we'll call it
literally
that.
Full throttle, absolutely. Throttle was pinned, smashing it all through the quick shifter, just bang, 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 bang all the way through. And the tyre just let go. It literally looked like it had been shot with a gun, because there was a big hole in the side of the tyre, and when we watch the video back, you can hear the tyre go pop, and we don't know what it was, whether it was a stone that's got hit or punctured it, but I mean, we couldn't find anything on there like a glass or a nail or anything like that, and it was just like an instant deflation. But luckily, I think what saved the day was the fact that we were going so fast, and the forces acting on the tyre, pushing it out, made the tyre keep its shape, and that's what kind of kept things going normally. But even when that happened, I wasn't particularly scared, because there was nothing that you could really do about it other than just hold on and carry on with it.
What about when you're at Ron Haslam and you dropped it?
Wasn't scared. Again, it happened before you can
think,
before you know what's going on.
Right. So there was no time for you to go, "Oh,
it's
no,
not as if
going."
Someone comes in and says you're going to fall off in 5 minutes, and then you got to sit around and I'm going to fall off in 5 minutes and get scared about it, because it happens just like that, and you don't know it's going to happen until you're sliding down the tarmac. I'd say the scariest bike that I've rode was probably the GSX R1000, the L7 when it first came out. And remember when we took it out and we were going down the road, and this thing was just chucking the front wheel up, and it was like absolutely unbelievable. Like I've never rode. I still think that bike's probably the biggest animal that I've ever rode. But just the way that the power came in, that was scary, and it just used to pull the front end up, and it was like you just sat there in amazement, really. But I wasn't scared of it, because you kept going back for more. It was the kind of enjoyable I don't know. Was it like an
Enjoyable,
enjoyable scary? Yeah, that was it. I suppose
It's like a roller coaster.
I suppose
you're
actually
scared, but you enjoy it, and you keep going back for more.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. The only other time really I rode a trials bike when I was a teenager in a field because my mate had a trials bike and he said, "Come on, let's have a go." And I was like, "Right, okay." And I'd never ever ridden a motorcycle, and he was just like, "Yeah, just hop on, pull this lever in, click that, and then let that lever out dead slowly." And then it was a Beta 250, Beta Rev 3 250. Never rode a motorcycle before in my life, let alone a trials bike. And I made that rookie mistake of sitting down on a trials bike because everyone sits down to ride a motorcycle. And then this thing was just front wheel up in the floor and, whiskey throttle in it and everything. I was like, I've got no idea. But again, I wasn't scared. Bloody enjoyed it. You get off it and it's like, oh, another go. As you say about a roller coaster, Like when you're a kid, you get off the roller coaster and you're sprinting back round again to join the end of the line for another go. It was like that.
You were always the roller coaster person, I wasn't.
Yeah, roller coaster's a race. I guess they're kind of a bit lame nowadays because we're so used to motorbikes.
Maybe I should go back and see what it's like after having a motorcycle.
But for me, so far, the new GX 1000 or the new GX 1000, that was kind of been just the way that it performed, the way that the power came in and the front end went up, that it was scary.
Okay.
What else? I'm trying to think of what else I rode that was scary. H2SX. I was scared riding that because I didn't think my licence would last that long. That was scary.
MV Augusta. Scared about damaging that?
Well, I've took the MV, like the Adventure, the Turismo Veloce one, the Adventure-y, like sit up
with that
more,
smart clutch.
Yeah, with the smart clutch, and I took that out, and I was grinding my toe going around corners. But again, I wasn't scared because you if you're scared, you're kind of pooping yourself a bit. But I wasn't because I had a massive grin. I was really enjoying myself. So it was a bit of a weird one. I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't scared.
Okay.
Right, next question. This will be a good one. You might enjoy this one. I'll ask the question to you. You answer it. And this is from George Hickman off Twitter and Instagram and everything. And he says, has social media helped the motorbike world, or has it made it SH1T?
Right.
In his words.
So there's two arguments to this story. So the first side is social media has brought out a new wave of connecting people as it has in everyday life, but a new way of forming communities, a new way of forming groups and communicating events and things like that, where people can go and meet up. It would have been hell to try and organise, like the world's biggest female biker run that we went to a few years ago. It gives that another method of unity between bikers. We can see what's going on in the community. We can organise. Well, we used to be able to organise group rides, things like that. As well as seeing what's happening in our mates' lives,
Yeah.
So,
and I'm interested to hear what everyone else thinks on this as well. So comment and send us a message, do whatever, tweet us, and let us know what you think about.
Tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah. Let us know if social media has made the motorbike world better.
So I think that side of it is great. The other side of it is then advertising and marketing. Now, again, there's two subsides of this. The big companies do it really well. Like, I know the big guys, Yamaha's social media is absolutely on point, and I know why. Suzuki's always got the good stuff on. When it's done right by the big people, because they have the budget to do it properly, it's great. When the small people do it, and they do it wrong, and they do it terrible, and they don't look after their social media, and they upload crap, unlike like we take care, we make sure that everything we put up is good quality stuff.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know what you do, right? But there are people that I see who do stuff, and I sometimes question if they actually know what social media is about or the ins and outs. The one thing that gets me is not knowing your platform.
Yeah, that's a big thing. When you see like Instagram with people putting links in links don't work in captions on Instagram.
So here's the big thing. Twitter is all about the breaking news. When Alex Rins won the GP championship, when Marc Marquez crashed out, Twitter, MotoGP Twitter was absolutely all over it because it was that's what Twitter's for. Twitter is for the breaking news. Instagram is for your creative, your artsy fartsy, your photographers, things like that, other bits of media, and you get people who come out and they think it's just a place to put pictures, like, and even the pictures sometimes they put up, blurry, desaturated, unedited.
Yeah, but I know you're speaking as a photographer, but remember everyone's a photographer nowadays because everyone's got a camera in the pocket and.
Read the guide on the website.
Everyone's got, like, obviously everyone can take a photo and put it up, but everybody's different. Everybody's now a photographer.
But it's not that.
Sort of thing.
It's when the photo is clearly blurry.
Yeah. Maybe that was the effect they're going for.
I can guarantee you it wasn't the effect that they were going
license.
For. And then, again, Instagram is... Yes, you can drop links in places, but do it properly.
I think the thing for me is to answer the question... Social media has got benefits, but it's also got drawbacks. The thing for me is that how it's connected so many people. You know, there's not many times where you can, you know, I tweeted Jorge Lorenzo last year on Twitter, and I got a response from Jorge Lorenzo.
Is that the highlight of your...
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Where else can fans of a sport message someone who's doing that sport and, you know, actually... chance to get a response? That's not going to happen like by any other method, really, is it? And you know, when you get all the teams do you know, ask Marc Marquez and you want to ask, it does frustrate me when somebody says, oh, what colour pants do you wear, or something stupid like that. You know, we want to know something interesting and nitty gritty about stuff like who does he hate in the paddock, or you know, that
does
sort
he
of
have
thing.
Repsol sponsored pants?
Yeah, but I mean we want to know interesting stuff. We don't want to know like what it's like to have a corner named after you, because I mean, come on, everyone knows that it's going to be great to have a corner named after you at a racetrack.
So, yeah.
But then the other side of social media is, yeah, it's done that, but social media's not good for a lot of people. It doesn't help out. It's not good for people's mental health sometimes, and it's bad because you see somebody with something and it's like somebody else can never have that or will never achieve that, so then you know that can put them in a bad place. So I mean I understand that it puts pressure on people, but at the end of the day, remember that's just a photo. You know, I mean, there's been instances where I've seen people sitting next to bikes that aren't theirs, in clothes that aren't theirs, in completely unrealistic locations, and people sitting next to a bike on a photo shoot that's gone in the back of a van and then they've got dressed next to it. So you can't always believe what you see on social media. It's a bit of kind of
going back to the photography
dual lives and stuff.
Going back to photography thing, what you're seeing there is the finished product. You're not seeing all the behind the scenes work, and a lot of these people they cut corners, they do things sloppily, and just to try and get this image, they're not authentic. You know, we put ourselves out, and we're authentic about everything, realistic.
And remember as well, these people are trying to
win screen time.
Yeah, they're trying to win your screen time. They're trying to kind of... I mean, I don't know how to put this politely, but, you know, it's a bit of a who's got the biggest willy competition, you know, because...
Yeah, a lot of egos out there.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like an ego massage for a lot of these people, and I think that's why they do it sometimes.
And there's a big difference between the side of people that are trying to make business and sell things and do something that they enjoy, which, you know, fully support that because it's just another medium for you to get business.
I mean, I know so many people on social media, because obviously we speak to quite a few people doing what we do, and there's people out there that have got social media accounts with tons of followers, but they absolutely hate it. You know, there's people out there. I know a lad that's got 50,000 followers, and he absolutely hates it. You know, he says to me frequently, if I could close it down and get rid of it, I'd get rid of it and just go back to riding a bike for enjoyment instead of having to take loads of pictures everywhere all the time, and that takes over. And it kind of does detract a bit from motorcycling. If you're taking a motorcycle out just to go and sit next to it to get a photograph or anything, it kind of becomes a fashion accessory then, not an enjoyment side of things.
Yeah, and just quickly going back, a lot of us will use our bikes as part of that mental health relaxation. Getting on the road, like we said last week, getting on the road, no distractions, focusing on what you're doing on that bike is some great relief.
So yeah, I mean, we've got a piece on the website about, is motorcycling good for your health?
Yeah, and we need to make an amendment to that because there's a charity that's come up that we fully support in mental health.
Mental Health Motorbike. They're on Twitter and Instagram and everyone, and they're basically doing lots of work and helping bikers look at how to increase, or I guess not increase, but make their mental health better. Because I mean, we're all bikers. We're not immune to having different thoughts. So
no, and
you know, it's a really good one to get out there. So check them out on social media. That's Mental Health Motorbike.
They have the Facebook support group, which is great, and there's a big community in there, all able to help everyone out. So the big thing really is, social media is just that fake persona.
I think if you keep away from all these fake ego persona-y people and just stick with your friends, properly,
stick with people that you know, people that you trust, businesses and brands that you want to follow, and that you want to help out and support, you know, build a relationship with those people, make them feel that what they're doing is worth it. You know, it's really a hard time right now for businesses and people on social media, because you know, you can't go out and sell things as easily.
No, so they are using social media to, obviously, it's their shop front. Is what you'd have in the shop, and you know, you've got to kind of help them out. But even like on Twitter, you can have conversation, like, as long as you're not kind of getting involved with, you know, blatantly annoying people, and you are actually trying to have a decent conversation. It's good because there's so many people on there that are just wanting to talk about bikes,
and there are people that we've met or that we have connections with that you know is an expert in XYZ, and if you need a hand and you can just send them a quick message and ask them,
yeah,
they'll help out. Like I messaged Tingle, asked her, you know, I've got a problem with my computer, what would you recommend? And he sorted me right out. And that relationship would only have ever happened with us doing this on social media.
Yeah, that's it.
And that saved a huge problem for me.
And I think sometimes as well, having a presence on social media, it can open more doors as well. So, I mean, we've been on social media for years, and, you know, we're quite active on it. And
coming up to our fifth year almost now.
It's good because, you know, it opens doors. You get to meet people that you probably wouldn't meet otherwise, or you wouldn't speak to otherwise, and
John McGuinness.
Yeah, it's good and it's interesting.
Sam Lowe's.
Yeah. So
yeah,
good.
I mean, there is good and bad. Make sure you stick to the good. Avoid the bad.
Yeah, focus on the good. Kind of, if you get any negativity, get rid of it, and, you know, just don't be a sheep. Do what you want to do. That's it.
Apart from, you know, we don't go into coronavirus conspiracies on this.
No, we don't talk about motorbikes only.
Motorbikes only.
No politics or coronavirus or anything like that. Motorbikes.
Just follow the rules. We'll get it all over. We'll get it all back to riding. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Because I miss my bike.
Yeah. Get everything done. Let's get back out on bikes.
Right.
ASAP.
Next thing. What are your plans for spring for the R1? Does it need any upgrades? Does it need any bits and bobs doing? Does it need a bit of a service? What are you going to do?
So in terms of the R1, the bike was serviced last summer. I went down to Cardiff and Swansea, kind of South Wales, to get it.
South Wales is a big area.
Yeah, serviced.
Swansea it was.
Swansea. Yeah, well, I went to Swansea and then I stopped off in Cardiff after, so I kind of did both. But yeah, it's all serviced, it's all good. I'm happy with that bike. I mean, I'm not chasing stupid power, you know, it's got more than enough power for what I need. I I'm looking to get some more miles in on the M9RR Metzlers because they're only kind of halfway through, and I'm interested to see them. I'm also contemplating putting a set of the new Diablo Rossos on because I'm quite interested to find out what they're like and do a write-up on the website for them.
Definitely.
But other than that, there's not a lot that it needs or it wants really. It just wants more miles clocking on. I'm almost up to 10,000 miles on it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Getting out there.
How about the SV?
Well, it's going to need a full service. It's been a while, so we're talking for everything. My bank's not going to be happy with me spending all that money. Got to check out spark plugs, check out everything, because it's been 4 or 5 years since anything like that was done. So definitely want to check oil, definitely want to check air. Thinking maybe about adding some little bits here and there.
Go on, what kind of mods?
I'm looking at
Tell us what mods you're thinking, and then let's
upgrading the pipes, upgrading the radiator pipes and all of that.
Okay, so
Right.
putting like silicone hoses on.
Silicone hoses.
Is that a kind of worthy upgrade?
I think it just needs a little bit something to make it a little bit more pizzazz.
Okay, bit
Right.
more pizzazz.
Bit more pizzazz. And I like the idea of having blue silicones. I think it'll give it a little bit more of a eyelashy bit. The problem is you can't look at it until you actually have the bits and see how it looks in person.
Okay.
So I would like to do that, but we'll see how it goes.
And a full service.
Full service, that's going to be... So we're probably going to do some videos on what's going to happen with servicing the bikes, checking them over, all three, just making sure it's ready to go for spring.
Yeah.
Making sure that all the general maintenance is done, because that's the big thing, is getting everything spring ready and getting out there.
So, we're kind of coming to the end of January now. Christmas sales, January sales, people getting ready for the new season. Any bike kit that you've got your eyes on? What are you looking at? What do you need? What are you thinking?
I kind of want a new jacket.
Yeah.
So, because I want a new jacket, I want something potentially leather, something a little bit nicer, because the jacket that I've got now is great for touring, but the zips are broke. In the summer, in the hot days, it's great because the air comes right through those broken zips, but when you start getting cooler days, it's a little bit too chilly. You start kind of wishing you put an extra t-shirt on or something.
Yeah.
So maybe another jacket, maybe fix the zips, I don't know, but it's definitely something potentially on the cards. And it would be probably something to match the Speedies, maybe.
Okay, so you had a new helmet last year as well, the new NXR from Shoei.
Yep, that was great. The few rides that I've had with it at the end of last year it's absolutely phenomenal. So, but I want to get more miles in on that before we do any sort of write-up, because I don't want it to be on that initial flaky impression. I want it to...
Oh yeah, I've just taken it out of the box and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, I want it to be actually in detail. I want to get, at least 1,000 miles on it before I actually put anything. I've had the initial thoughts, like the construction, the general waffle that you can get off the internet.
That's like a week's worth of riding for you then, 1,000 miles, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's. I kind of also want a Hornet, a Shoei Hornet.
Right.
Because I do want to try something like that. An adventure style helmet. I've never tried one.
So is that a peaked helmet?
It is peaked. It's got the nice, really wide visor. I think it's definitely something that I want to try. And if I'm going to be doing more miles, the NXR is quiet enough. But for them really long trips, I don't know, I want to try it. So it's definitely something that I really want to work with and see what happens. Who knows how this year's going to go, and if I'm going to come out and splurge on a new helmet, seeing as I've just bought the NXR.
Yeah, I mean, you've just bought a new helmet, so you don't want to be buying another one.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I've just bought the NXR, so that's great. We'll get more miles on that, get the review up on that. Speedy Carbo Tracks, gloves.
Gloves.
Absolute powerhouses of gloves, although don't wear them in winter.
Why, are they cold?
They are absolutely freezing. Now, if the temperature was around 5 degrees outside ambient.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's ever mentioned anywhere on Sports Bike Shop or anywhere like that, that they should be listed fully 100% and made in big bold letters, summer glove riding, because the holes in so we were doing maybe, I was coming from one area, it's probably only a 10-minute ride, gloves on, absolutely freezing. 10 minutes, 5 degrees outside. Probably didn't hit above 30 miles per hour. It was just that cold.
Now I found that one cure to getting cold hands was if you lay the rest of your body up, then you don't notice your cold hands as much.
Yeah, and I did have base layers on at the time.
But not just base layers. I went out and I had base layers, which are the windstopper base layers. I had a t-shirt on, and then I had like another thinner jumper on. Then I had my leathers, and then I had a hoodie over the top. So that was like 4 layers.
Yeah, but you're skinny and can fit into your layers, Luke.
Yeah, but I haven't got the insulation.
So unlike me, where I can just about squeeze into my current jacket, it's they're a good glove. They're strong, they're sturdy, they're really comfortable. It's dead weird going from Track Tech Evos where you've got the conjoined
Pinky fingers,
and that bridge to go into a glove where you can actually feel it. I almost kind of forget to actually use my pinky,
right?
Because I'm so used to it being conjoined that I remember the first time wearing them, trying to pull in the clutch and doing that and let my pinky slip over. So it's kind of, instead of 4-finger, it was 3-finger. Dead weird. But in just terms of general build, quality, fit, they're a little bit snug when you first put them on, but they bed in really, really well, even after 2 or 3 rides.
Okay.
So I would, if you're looking to upgrade the gloves and you don't want to go for Nox Handroids, definitely a strong recommendation.
That's the thing. I've got quite a few things, bits of kit on my list this year. I mean, my leathers are kind of pretty much ruined after when I fell off. They're all scuffed and scraped and everything, so I'm contemplating leathers.
Would you go back to 4SR for those?
I don't know, because I always kind of think, is it good to try other stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong, the 4SR protected me. I fell off, went skidding down the tarmac, and I've still worn the suit for another 2 years since falling off. It hasn't worn through anywhere. There's still plenty of material left on it. But I kind of think, should I try something else? Will the fit be better? Will I get more for me money elsewhere, kind of thing? Because there's some cheap airbag suits coming out now. Do I need an airbag for on the road? Do I not need an airbag for on the road? Is that an extra cost that I need? Is it not? Etc. Also, since falling off, my gloves were kind of all messed up, and I've had the Handroids for 4 years now, and they're starting to show their age. They're wearing through on a couple of stitching areas, and the on the palms are all kind of getting very thin, and they've been a great glove, but they are showing their age a bit. And then boots, I've almost worn the soles on my Supertech R's out.
Probably because you've been wearing them so much.
Yeah.
But those Daytonas haven't really...
No, the Daytonas are a bit weird because they fit really big, and they all, because of how big they are, they almost feel like a clog. They feel huge.
So I think maybe boots might be a thing for me. But I don't know whether that's just because of changing onto hood jeans.
Yeah.
But that day that I went out in the 5 degrees, it was, a little bit of rain all day kind of thing. And I even came out and I had 1 foot that was dry and 1 foot that was wet. So, again, they've been great boots, but maybe it might be a little bit of, I might need to get one of those casual boot pairs.
I think, yeah, because I was thinking
one of those,
something like the shorty kind of trainery style,
yeah,
kind of low top kind of things. Because every time I wear jeans, wearing a full race boot all the time does feel like real overkill. And I just wonder, can you get away with wearing just some over the ankle kind?
Yeah. So my issue is, when I wear the hood jeans and I'm not wearing boots, because I'm on the hood jeans, I took them in. I look daft because they're quite, the jeans are straight cut, and now I'm not a straight cut kind of wearer. I like things to be tapered a bit more. So they just go straight down, and I look like I should belong in an MC Hammer video or something like that.
Right.
So I like having
MC
the tuck,
Hammer.
bit of a reference. I like having the tuck then to go into the TCX. So I might get another pair of TCX boots for that, and a pair of TCX maybe like ankle ones, and maybe maybe I might work on the hood jeans, I don't know. Definitely get another pair of boots this year, because I've had those for years, going on 4
That's the thing though,
years.
if you buy decent kit,
it lasts.
It lasts. So you can get 4 or 5 years out of a set of boots, and it's not an issue. And you'd not have no problem if someone come along and says, right, okay, these boots are going to be 200 quid, but you'll get 4 or 5 years out of them. You'd be like, yeah, okay.
Well, those TCXs I got, they're still listed. The TCX still sell them. They're probably just north of £100.
Yeah.
I've had 4 years out of them perfect.
Well, there you go.
No problem.
You can't moan at that.
My only issue is the zips can be a little bit fiddly. And the Velcro is a little bit fiddly, but if you're a normal person and not weirdly shaped like me, you'll be perfectly fine with it.
It always makes me laugh. You know when you go to some of the bike meets and you've got like the skinny guy that's walking around in like the Dainese leathers that are like 30 years old,
Yeah.
and it's like, yep, you've got your value out of them, and it's like these things are like cardboard that they're so old and dry, but you know he's still wearing the leathers. I always laugh at that.
So yeah, but again, buy your good kit because the Handroids, they've lasted. The TCX boots, they've lasted. Your Supertacs have lasted. You know, your kit. Don't buy your cheap stuff just because it's cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
keep you safe.
It probably will keep you safe, but to some people who obviously can't afford the top, I mean, the moral of the story really is to buy the best kit that you can afford.
Yeah.
There's no point. I mean, a £20 pair of motorcycle boots are going to be a lot better than just riding in a pair of
Trainers,
Converse or something like that. So that's 100% better anyway. But buy what you can afford. There's no point getting yourself massive into debt and, you know, I've got to have a Dainese Dia Misano suit that's custom fitted to me and £4,000 worth if you're riding a 125. It's a bit silly doing that.
I'd love to see that.
It'd be funny.
Can we get George Hindle on a 125?
Yeah.
Let's get George on a Pure Sport and see how it goes.
Well, he did ask actually what's the worst 400cc or above bike, and I said, well, it's a new S1000RR just because he's got one.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I mean, that's another question. What's the worst bike that we've seen?
Now you might hate me for this.
Yeah, okay, hate you anyway, but
wow, thank you. I was very, very underwhelmed by the Benelli Tornado.
Which one? The little 125?
No, the 800.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, with the fans.
Why?
I was really underwhelmed. I thought it'd be cooler.
When you actually saw one in person?
Yeah.
Well, that was my pin-up bike as a kid, and that was
you don't
back
like
in...
girls.
Well, no, it was. I remember buying magazines, and at the time it was like TWO magazine or the old Fast Bikes magazine when it was worth reading, and like some of the other ones, and it's like that was the bike. It was either that or like the 916 or the 99 whatever it was, like the old Ducati. And for me, the paint job in the black, in the silver and green, and the fact that it had fans under the seat. And
the fans are wrong. They spin the wrong way.
Yeah.
They spin the wrong way.
Well, from what I read, they do that, don't they?
No, they both go the same way.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
I wanted them to both go inwards, and they both went the same way. So I was really upset by that. It didn't sound... It might have just been the exhaust, but it didn't sound as good as I thought.
Well, it's a triple. It is a triple. It's not a 4-cylinder, so it is going to have a distinctive noise.
So it was just... When I saw it in person, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I got photos of it, obviously, but I was just a bit... Oh...
I mean, they always say don't meet your heroes in that one because you'll be disappointed.
It's not my hero.
Well, it was mine as a kid.
So it was a little bit underwhelming. What else is bad? I don't like R1s.
No, neither do I. Wasting money.
Noisy.
Loud, yobbo. Not fun to ride.
Only ridden by twats.
Not very good on fuel. Yeah.
A hole in your wallet.
Yeah, that's it.
What else is bad?
I mean, I didn't like the Super Duke.
An orange Kawasaki.
I didn't like the 1290 Super Duke R.
Yeah, you complained about that last week.
Because, yeah, I said it last week, but I just didn't like it. It didn't really work. It didn't do anything for me.
I don't think there's much that I've disliked. A bike's bike. I love riding them.
Yeah.
But I was just underwhelmed by that Benelli in person. It was, yeah.
So I think on that note, really, we've answered everyone's questions. If you've got any more questions, let us know. Send us a message on social media, messages on Twitter, comment, like anything on social media, and we'll get back to you. Comment on this week's episode because we always look back to what to include for next week. Messages in the chat, email us. It's, you know, our email address is about. The website's on there. There's a newsletter. You can sign up to that and get
That's
in
the
touch
big
with us
thing.
that way.
Yeah, newsletter keeps you up to date with all the good stuff that we're putting out. Every time that we're able to put something out, from a press release, any new kit, anything like that, any review, newsletter gets it to you straight away. You'll be the first people to see it.
And also exclusive competitions, discount codes that we get.
So we're starting to get some discount codes in for those people who are on the newsletter. We're just waiting to roll them out. So yeah, just newsletter, subscribe, get on the website. You know, there's not much out there. We're just trying to put out all that content.
Yeah, we're just trying to be like, it's lockdown, can't go out and do anything, so let's just sit down, have a drink and a cup of tea, and let's chat about motorbikes. And that's the whole thing about this one, is we can just sit down for an hour and talk about motorbikes.
And that's what we want to do.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
On that note, we'll leave it there. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the website, keep us updated on how everything's going, and let us know if you've got questions for next week. We'll put the posts out saying when we're doing it.
It's probably going to be same time, so like 8 o'clock on Wednesday. It's kind of date and time that works for everybody, both of us.
It's good,
so
yeah.
It's straight in the midweek, so we kind of get what happens at the end of last week and what's going on with this week, so we can carry on going. So thank you for watching, and I guess
yeah. Goodbye
stay,
from me.
Stay safe, stay inside, don't get coronavirus, because we want to go out riding.
Yep.
So thank you, and goodbye.
We'll see you next week, everyone.